I'll never forget the silence that followed my son's words. It was just a phone call, just an ordinary December afternoon, and yet it felt as if my entire world cracked open in that moment. I had been counting the days to Christmas, rehearsing in my head how I'd surprise him with the pies he loved, the knitted scarf I'd worked on for weeks, and the stories we'd share by the fireplace like we used to. But when I said, "Honey, I can't wait to see you this Christmas," he sighed and replied softly, almost apologetically, "Mom, I wasn't expecting you for Christmas this year." Those words pierced me deeper than I ever thought possible. The loneliness that I had learned to live with as a widow suddenly came rushing back, heavier than it had been in years. I hung up the phone, but I didn't hang up the ache. I sat in my little living room, staring at the mortgage bill sitting on the table. It had been due in a few days, and I had just enough tucked away to pay it. But not much more. I had sacrificed everything to keep this house, the house where my son grew up, the house where his father and I built dreams out of thin air, the house that felt like the last surviving piece of our family. Every month I scraped together enough to make the payment, convincing myself that one day it would be worth it, that one day my son would come home again and the house would still be here waiting like a faithful friend. But in that moment, staring at those numbers on the bill, I felt something shift. If my own son didn't expect me at Christmas, what was I really fighting for? Was I holding on to bricks and memories while life itself slipped through my fingers? That night, with tears streaking my face, I made a choice that shocked even me. I canceled the mortgage payment. I called the bank and told them I wouldn't be sending the money. Instead, I booked a bus ticket with what little I had and decided I would spend Christmas differently this year. If my son didn't expect me, then maybe someone else needed me to show up. The bus ride was long, cold, and uncomfortable, but it was also strangely freeing. I didn't know exactly where I was going, just that I was headed to a small town 2 states away, where a church had advertised a community Christmas for those who had no family nearby. I thought maybe I could volunteer, maybe bake something, maybe sit beside people who felt the same emptiness I did. When I arrived, I was nervous, clutching my old coat tighter around me, but the moment I stepped into that little church hall, the smell of warm food and the sound of laughter wrapped around me like a long-lost hug. I spent hours cooking, serving, and listening. There was a man who hadn't seen his daughter in 10 years, a young mother who had lost her husband in a car accident, a boy who whispered to me that he'd never had a Christmas tree before. For the first time in years, I wasn't dwelling on what I didn't have. I was giving what I did. And in that giving, my broken heart began to stitch itself back together. People thanked me for the pies, for the smiles, for simply sitting with them. One little girl slipped a handmade card into my hand that said, "Thank you for being here. You made Christmas feel like Christmas." But the story didn't end there. On Christmas morning, my phone buzzed. It was my son. His voice was tight with guilt. "Mom," he said, "I can't stop thinking about what I told you. I didn't mean it the way it sounded. I miss you. I miss home." I held my breath as he stumbled through his words, admitting that work had consumed him, that he felt ashamed for not visiting more, and that he was afraid of disappointing me. For the first time, I told him the truth, that the house didn't matter, that the mortgage didn't matter, that all I wanted was to feel like family again. There was a long silence. Then he whispered, "Come home, Mom. Please, let's start over." The following weeks weren't easy. I lost the house, yes, but I gained something I had nearly forgotten: hope. My son helped me move into a small apartment closer to him. He came over often, bringing dinner or just sitting with me to talk. Slowly, the distance that had grown between us shrank, replaced by a bond stronger than before. And every Christmas since, we've promised each other one thing: never to take presents for granted. Gifts, houses, money, those can vanish. But showing up for each other, being there when it matters, that's what makes a family. So if you're listening to this story today, I hope you remember this. Love is not about the walls we build or the debts we pay. It's about the people we choose to show up for. Sometimes letting go of something we thought we couldn't live without is the very thing that allows us to find what truly matters. My son didn't expect me that Christmas, but now he always does. And I never needed a mortgage payment to prove my worth. I just needed to believe that my presence, my love, was enough.